destroying the poor, or we're sick of it, we're sick and tired of it. We're saying New Zealand has to be a much more equal society where the people who actually do the work are people who benefit from the work they do. Because at the moment, it's the shareholders that are reigning supreme, the wealthy who are gaining the major benefits from the work that people do. We're saying that's not on. We're saying that has to stop.
Stand up!
Fight back!
The people united!
Will never be defeated!
The people united!
Will never be defeated!
Peter Murnane, who has been involved in the social justice movement, in the peace movement, and you might remember Waihopai. We didn't know what were under those big domes at the Spy Station. Well, thanks to Peter and some friends, they showed us what was underneath. So welcome and thanks for the work that he did for justice with Ahmed Zawi.
Thank you. As I was introduced, I'm a part-time unemployed domebuster at the moment, and but I'm also a Catholic priest. Thank you for that. Yeah. We were acting to expose governmental terrorism, which is far, far more extensive than private terrorism around the world. And when we exposed that spy system here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, we were waking some people up to it. It constantly feeds every day stuff to the NSA in Washington, day and night, which leads to people being extradited, tortured, and killed and invaded, etc., etc. That's my part-time job. I'm also a Catholic priest, and you don't often see a Bible at these rallies, but that's okay. I'm not going to thump it, but it's an embarrassing thing to be a Christian these days, because the bosses have usually been Christian, the mine owners, the capitalists, financiers, and the exploiters. But that's because they've forgotten the point. We stand here today on principles. You know what fair is. You know what justice is. You know what sharing is. You know when to exploit children, to take money back from the environmental causes is all wrong, because it's all here. Some people say the Bible is stuffed, but it's stuffed with justice. The capitalists, the bosses, have forgotten what St. James called true religion. This is what religion is, he says. Not going to church, didn't mention a church, didn't have them in those days. He said, religion is to care for orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world, meaning not the trees and nature, but by the corruption of greed and the big system. And going back 600 years before Jesus, 2,500 years ago, this transcendent mystery we call God, who's not in a church or a box, he's everywhere and in you and me, this God enters into judgment with the elders of his people. If it is you who have devoured the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What do you mean by crushing my people, by grinding the face of the poor, says the Lord God. They have grown, that's the prophet Isaiah, the prophet Jeremiah. These guys were important in their time and still today. You are prophets yourselves, carrying a banner up Queen Street. You're saying, and Jeremiah said, they have grown fat and sleek. They know no limits in deeds of wickedness. They do not judge with justice the cause of the orphan to make it prosper. They do not defend the rights of the needy. Strong stuff. And it's the principle on which you and I stand, whether we go to church or not. I'm actually currently running a petition against the Pope, or not against him, for him, to wake him up. And it's gaining 100 signatures per hour at the moment, and it's still growing. You might come across it, but it's a little side issue for this gathering. So we need justice in church and out of it, and the principles are here. So if they say, what are you doing rallying, or what are you doing throwing theoretical flower bombs, what are you doing causing a disturbance in Queen Street, throw the book at them. Thank you.
People's rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back.
When people's rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back.
The workers' rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back.
The women's rights are under attack.
Stand